Hey team, Pastor Preston here. First, let me give a big shout out to some of our newest team members to FC Kids, which would be Victoria and Jessica and Tiffany and Crystal, who's returning back to us. Glad to have you all serving alongside with us. Number one, first announcement is the new time change. With the new year, with the fast, with new developments come new things, and our first one is a new time change. Our new service times will be 10 o'clock and 11:26. That's right, 11:26. 10 o'clock, 11:26. What does this mean? This means that everyone gets an extra half hour to sleep in. You have an extra half hour to get here. So stage leaders, your rehearsal will no longer be at 8 a.m. It'll be at 8:30, and the team meeting will be now at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. Everyone can get up for a 9 o'clock meeting. Everyone can make that. That's easy. So come on, y'all. Dig deep. Some of y'all haven't been able to make that meeting for one reason or another. I'm not going to say any names, but let's all come together because it is a blessed time that we get to meet and greet and hang out and find out what's going on with each other and share prayer requests and pray with one another. And also, there's vital information that I'm covering each and every weekend. Especially if you're not watching the video, sometimes I'll repeat some of the stuff. But if you didn't see the video, nor did you make the meeting, you're missing out on a chunk of stuff. So make the meeting at 9 o'clock. Everybody, both services, and then we'll split to do our thing. At 9:45 is when we'll open doors for the 10 o'clock, and about 11:11 we'll open them up for the 11:26. So tell your friends, tell everyone you know that also comes here that we have a new service time. If you don't, everyone's just going to be really early, which is okay. That way no one's late. So spread the word, 10 o'clock, 11:26. And we'll see you for that. The other thing I wanted to quickly go through as quickly as we can is continuing our discussion on the core principles. Last week we talked about environment, excellence, and salvation. This week I want to talk about age appropriate and family involvement and all kids allowed. Starting with age appropriate is just simply going to be the manner in which we teach different aged kids. They all need to be catered to in a different way. K1 is going to be taught a little bit differently than 2 through 4. There's going to be similarities, but there's going to be some things that we really need to be cognizant of in order to really effectively teach the kids of these different age levels. From a kindergartner to a 4th grader, there's a lot of different milestones that they reach in their development. With K1, we're going to have to modify some of the games that we do. We want to make the games age appropriate so that these kids can do the activity well. It could be a motor skill thing that hasn't happened for K1 that we have to change the game around a little bit. Sometimes you'll see that we'll have 2 separate small groups because one isn't as age appropriate for kindergarten, 1st grade, especially if it involves writing their names or writing any words. K1's not going to be able to do that. 4th graders will be, 3rd grader probably, 2nd grader pretty close. So we have to age appropriately teach them with the right small groups with the right games. Also, age appropriate is going to refer to the way we teach from the stage and the way you use words with them. We want to make sure that we're using words that they understand. And sometimes you might come across in the script, stage leaders, a word that seems a little too big for your kids and you're looking for a different word to communicate to them. Well, I have this great book called The Children's Writer's Word Book. This is a book I had in Grapevine that as a 4th and 5th grade pastor, and even as a 2nd and 3rd grade pastor, I would go to this book because it's a book of synonyms to give you different word choices to use in place of words that you think aren't going to work as well. So, for example, when talking about something that irked you, I am irked. Irk, I-R-I-K, I-R-K, that is a 6th grade word, irk. And so that's not going to be as easily conveyed to a K1. Yeah, and I wouldn't use the word convey with a kindergarten 1st grader. But you can't convey that to a 1st grader. What works best for them is anger. Anger is a 1st grade word. Agitate is a 5th grade word. To annoy is a 5th grade word. Bother is a 2nd grade word. So with the 2nd graders, you'd want to use bother instead of irk. So that's an example right there. Let's see. Another one would be, let's go with jest. I'm jesting, which is, joking or acting up. Jest is a 4th grade word, fine for some of them. But when you get to the younger grades, 2nd grade, better word for them would be fool, fooling around. Gag, G-A-G, would be a first grade word. So instead of using the word jest, you would use the word gag. So a lot of great words in here. Jail, fourth grade word. But a kindergarten first grader may not understand jail as much as they would cell, according to this book. So this is a great tool that I've used over the years. And if you come across in your preparation a word that you're like, I don't know if this one's going to really communicate to the group I have, to my small group, because you know your kids too, you small group leaders, and you might want to just hit me up with an email for a better word to use, unless you got one on your own. You can probably Google these things too, but that's really taking the effort to be age appropriate, because if it goes over their head, then what's the point? We used a real big smart word, but we lost them because they didn't understand it. So we always want to be age appropriate. Next thing is family involvement. Family involvement is just going to mean we want to partner with the parents and make sure that they're involved with what we're teaching the kids. We also want to create events that get the parents involved with their kids too, which we have those from time to time. Kid Faith would be an example of a class that is family involvement. When they come to the baptism orientation, there's family involvement. The parent flyer that we give to them at the end, the family devotional, is parent and family involvement, so that they are coming together in this, and that they're not just this silent partner that just brings the kids to us. We teach them for an hour, and then we deliver them back to the parents, so the parents pick them up, and then they have no idea what they did for an hour. We always want them to be aware and involved with their kids' spiritual development. Family involvement. The other one is All Kids Allowed. In All Kids Allowed, this is simply being welcoming, inviting, and making every kid feel warm and welcome and invited when they come in. This is also going to apply to the way we teach. We want to make sure that we teach in a way that doesn't isolate a child or make them feel ostracized because they don't understand or know everything that some of the other kids know regarding the Bible. So for instance, as a stage leader, or even a small group leader, you want to say, well, everyone knows Adam and Eve in the Bible, in the garden, right? Yeah, okay. Well, and then move on to the next point, or move on to the thing you really want to teach. We need to act like none of these kids have ever heard of any Adam and Eve, haven't even heard of the Bible, because sometimes we do have that. And in doing that, we make it All Kids Allowed. We'll make it All Kids Allowed when we do games or small groups that get all the kids involved. That makes it All Kids Allowed. So we'll modify games sometimes to include more kids who can participate in the activity, so it's just not always one-on-one. We have those games too, but the way we get All Kids Allowed is to make those kids cheer for their teams. So, and with that, All Kids Allowed, the opening activity for this week does not have a video because I'm kind of modifying a game that we played way back when and on the trail. And this is a game called The Machine. And what I want you to do, and everyone can help out in the room with this, is you have your two teams of kids. Each kid will need to represent a part of a machine with a movement and a sound. So a movement of this back and forth would be accompanied with the sound of something like that. And then one kid would start it off. Then you will encourage the kids to creatively come in and become another part of the machine and help move this ball or an object between all the team members. And then you're going to decide between the two teams, stage leaders, which one had the most creative machine created. The whole point of this is going to be going back to being a creative individual, which is also going to be what our small group is about, called the Magic Pin. You're going to have a pin. You're going to ask everyone in the group to do a bit of charades with it, where they need to make that pin be something else, whether it be a fishing pole, a lightsaber, a telephone, but there's something else that they can do with it to create and look at that pin and make it be something else, bringing it back to the point that the creator of the universe created us all to be creative individuals. We are created to be creative. So we want to encourage these kids to really dig deep and be able to create something out of this pin that really is nothing but a ballpoint pen. this is where we got to get age appropriate with it too, because K1 may have a tougher time with this than 2-4, so we need to encourage, but I don't want you to give them answers, but help them really dig deep to try and find a way to be creative, because some of our first response, as you'll see in your teacher devotional, may be, I'm not creative, that's not me. Other people do the creative stuff, but that's not true, because God created you. He created you and I to be creative, and so we need to honor God in that. All right? So that's our 3 core principles for this week. We'll cover the other 3, the last of the 9, next week, and we'll go over a bunch of this Sunday morning in our 9 o'clock team meeting. So I'll look forward to meeting with y'all then as we continue to show kids God's love and, I know you said it, help kids love church. I'll see y'all soon. Bye-bye.